All right, all right. Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Hope you're doing well today. Today we're gonna start what I would say is a 2-day project, and I'm not gonna show you what your end result is because I would like for you to be creative. So I'm gonna give you some kind of building blocks here, and I just want you to take the building blocks and let's see what you end up with. So you see I've got some cardboard here. This was a box, some kind of a toy that my we made for my boys. So I've just kind of disassembled this box and I've cut it down into some kind of large square rectangle shapes. Um, so the only tools you should need for what we're going to do today is some cardboard and scrap cardboard from a cereal box will work. It doesn't have to be thicker cardboard, but you'll just need cardboard and some scissors. You might use a pencil, but I'm not even going to use a pencil. I'm just going to kind of make it up. So I'm going to start by kind of cutting this cardboard down. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. There's some lines here on the cardboard that I'll kind of follow. I'm just going to cut a long strip of cardboard that I'm going to then cut down into smaller pieces. So I'm basically taking what I used from this box and I'm going to cut it down into just some smaller strips. So now I've got kind of a longer strip and I'm just going to cut that into some smaller pieces. So I'm going to cut a little square or rectangle here. I'm going to match this guy because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a base. So I know I didn't say this at the beginning. But we're going to construct some insects, some three-dimensional sculptural insects, and they don't have to be insects, but that's kind of what our theme has been. So we're going to kind of stay with that. So I'm matching this guy. So I just kind of laid this piece on top, cut right next to it. So I've got two pieces here. When we put this together, whatever we're going to put together, what I'm going to recommend is that you'll have kind of a slick side, and then you'll have the cardboard side. I'm going to recommend that when you put your pieces together, leave it so that the cardboard side can be facing out. What's really nice about that is if you want to decorate or if you want to paint on this or if we want to glue strips of paper to it, this cardboard side sticking out is going to be kind of the best option for that. So like I said, we're just going to make a base right now, and I might add some other components to it so you can start to see kind of what a creature would look like. So I've got these two pieces, kind of a good size there. I'm continuing to use what's left of my strip here. Excuse me. And so I'm just going to cut off a couple smaller pieces. In fact, I'm going to cut 4 pieces off. And I want them to be kind of the same size. So I'm kind of eyeballing them. They're all about, I would say, maybe 3/4 of an inch wide. And now what I'm going to do with these guys, so 2 of these guys are going to be on the front of my base that I'm going to create. So I'm just going to kind of lay this out just a little bit. I'm going to move my bigger pieces of cardboard out of the way. So moving that guy, moving this guy. All right, so this is my scrap that I'm going to set aside here. I might use that in a little bit. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of make a little box. So I've got these 2 pieces, and these 2 pieces are going to be on the front of my box that are going to give it kind of some stability. And then these 2 pieces are going to be on the back side of my box. So I've got those pieces. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some notches. And I want the notches to be in the same place on both of these pieces. So I'm going to cut both of them at the same time. So I'm just going to cut about a 1/2 inch in there. I think you can see that. Yep. And I'm going to cut the other side. Just kind of the same distance there. I'm going to turn the whole thing around, keep them kind of sandwiched together here because I want the cuts to be the same here. And I'm going to pretty much do the same thing on this back side. Cut and a cut. And now I'm going to set these guys aside. One thing I didn't just do, which could be, some people might consider a mistake. If I really want these to line up and I want the cardboard to be facing out, then I need to turn this guy over when they're sandwiched. So, but my cuts are close enough that it won't really affect it too much, I would say. So now I'm just going to take these guys, and I'm not going to make that same mistake again. I'm going to sandwich the shiny sides of this cardboard so they're facing each other. And I'm just going to make, again, some notches. So I'm going to make a notch that's kind of close out. I'm going to cut almost halfway through that. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here on the bottom. Just cut that little notch about halfway through those strips. And set those aside. And then I'm going to take these two pieces, same thing, I'm going to sandwich the shiny side so that I'm going to keep that cardboard side facing out. And I'm going to cut again. So I'm close. Notice how close I am to the edge. I'm cutting about halfway through this little strip of cardboard that I've made. And I'm going to do it again. And now I'll set these guys aside. So I've got all my pieces. I'm going to go ahead and kind of put this together. So these notches that we've made, they're going to kind of interlock with each other. So a lot of times to do that, you can kind of pull them apart if you want. That might be a good way to do it. But I'm just going to kind of slide them together, and I want them to go until they've kind of, what ends up happening is something like this. So it's going to, they connect here, but I want them to go all the way until they're kind of locked in there. So I've got that. You can see how it's now kind of connected there. I'm going to go ahead and attach my other one. I'm being conscious again. So if this is kind of the outside of my box shape that I'm going to make, then I want to make this the outside of this side. You might open those notches just a little bit. That might make it a little bit easier for you to slide these pieces together. And then just going to slide that guy in there until you'll kind of feel where it stops. So I've got that. I'm going to connect the base here. So I'm looking at my notches, making sure that they're kind of open up. Now, I said at the beginning that this is kind of a good way, I don't want to show you what you can do with this because everything that I've shown you now is enough where I don't need to show you any more. I'm kind of more interested in seeing like what will your creative brains do. So you've got these building blocks, and we're going to start to construct a three-dimensional something, but I've given you everything you need. You cut notches in cardboard in the two pieces that are going to come together, and that's, you don't need a whole lot more. Now it's just kind of that fun thing of like, play with this idea, and where will your creativity take it? So I just kind of cross those pieces, going to do this bottom side here. So I will, I'm not going to leave you totally hanging. So tomorrow I'll show you some next steps, and we'll kind of construct something. Like I said, I'm gonna envision making an insect. That's what I'm gonna start to kind of think about. And I've even had the idea that we can take these pieces and potentially make like a marionette puppet. So that's something that will, like I said, I'll continue that with you tomorrow. But I just wanted to show you kind of this base. So here you can see it's kind of rough, but it's, I've made a very simple box. It's got some, some rigidity, some structure to it. If I wanted to get creative with it, I could, you can cut it kind of in place. So maybe I cut some curves here. I'm going to start to give this guy some shape. What shape would I want it to be? What is this thing going to be? So just cut those two pieces, kind of giving it kind of a rounded edge, and cut this side. And I'm, like I said, I really don't have a plan yet. I'm just kind of looking at this and deciding, what could this be? What else could I attach to this? I'm going to show you, I just want to show you one other thing. And again, just kind of using the scissors. So let's say that I wanted to give this guy kind of a little shape coming out of the top of it. I'll just show you real quick. I would kind of take this apart to do it. Let's see. So I'm just going to bend this piece of cardboard kind of in the center here. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to make a cut here in the center. So I'm bending it just a little bit. Obviously, you want to be real careful with these scissors. So I'm just kind of cutting a small hole here in the center of this box that I'm working with. So you can see I've kind of made that little hole there. And now let's say I'm going to add kind of a little fin to this guy. So I'm going to create that fin shape. And then here's kind of the tricky part, and this is where you might want a pencil. So I'm going to make 2 marks here that are as wide as the hole is. Have those marks kind of go up a little distance, you can see there. So now I know how wide that hole is. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use those marks kind of as a guide. I'm going to cut in to where those marks are. And now I'm just going to kind of cut that little bit away. Notice also, so I'm setting aside these scraps. I'm not just tossing them away. Who knows what other things they might, be a part of later. I might add them on to this guy. These could potentially be scales, or who knows. All right, so I've got kind of a little fin here. I've got that hole that I made in the top, and all I'm going to do is just kind of push that in there. So there I've just done like a very simple little addition, a modification to this guy, and I'm starting to, kind of see some more shape. I'm going to add just one more little thing. So let's say that this is kind of the body of some sort of a creature, and I want to start adding some legs. So I want to add some legs maybe. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some legs. So I've got this scrap of cardboard left. I'm going to just cut kind of a long skinny strip. I'm going to cut this skinny strip in half, just kind of eyeballing it. That looks like about half to me. So now I've got 2 legs, and I want these legs, when they're coming off of the body, to so if this is some sort of an imaginary body, I want this leg to kind of angle out. So I just want to think about that. I'm getting ready to make a cut, and so I just want to kind of make that cut have an angle in it. And if I want my guy to be kind of symmetrical, then I'm going to sandwich these 2 pieces together, and I'll make that same cut on both of them. So I'm just going to cut that angle, going about halfway through my strip, and now I will make a little cut here. I'm actually going to use the corners of these curves that I cut as kind of my guide. Best part about all of this is these materials. You see how quickly I've kind of put all this together. So if I was unhappy with something, I could totally take it apart and start over. So see, I've learned something here. So this, you can see the way my leg is going to be oriented. It's going to kind of have him with his arms facing in. That's what I was just getting ready to talk about, though, is if you realize like, oh, I did this wrong, or this is not something that I want, or not the way I want it to look, it's really super easy just to cut another one, make another one. I'm sure you can probably have no difficulty finding these scraps, these cardboard scraps. Everybody's got some kind of cardboard box just kind of floating around. So I'm going to add this leg. Even though I don't feel like it's what I want to see what it will look like before I decide that I'm just going to get rid of it. So I'm putting that guy on there. Kind of interesting. It's hard for you to see maybe. So maybe he's just a guy that's maybe he's got his arms crossed for a reason. I don't know what this... I haven't really thought of the story for this creature, whatever this is yet. But that's it. Just wanted to show you that. This is kind of where we're going. So today, What I would really like for you to do, what I'd recommend you do, is kind of experiment with this process. Create something. It doesn't have to necessarily be an insect, but create something using this technique of cutting the cardboard and interlocking these strips together to create something fun. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing what you end up making. Hope you have a good day.